Trucker Steve here, March 21st, 2026. So, I got online and I was asking AI some questions about does the FMCSA require alley docking, etc. Trying to look for where to get the proof in writing or whatever. But then I decided to take a little switch. Instead of searching for answers and questions, I decided, why not have a conversation, see how that works? I figured it wasn't going to work, but why not? Give it a try. So I had a conversation with AI. It's like two people in a bar room talking and asking point, getting answers. And so it's a hell of a long group of papers, but I'm not going to go from the beginning because I was just looking for research, looking for answers. And then when I switched over, so I'm going to go over some of the questions that I asked. I'm not going to go over every one of them. It might not be word for word from AI, but I'll try to get to the main part. So let's go. Let's get into it and see what you think about it. Trucker Steve to AI. When a CDL student is set up for a state test on the FMCSA certification form, does not include anywhere on that form is the student proficient in all skills, well, such as alley docking, reverse offset, public skills, public skills on a public road, etc. The CDL school just self-certifies the student is test ready. So, AI prints out and comes back to me with an answer. You are correct, AI says. The electronic certification form that training providers submit to the FMCSA Training Provider Registry does not have a specific checklist or individual fields for maneuvers like alley docking or parallel parking. The form is actually a digital data entry screen where the provider selects a high-level training type rather than checking off on the individual skills. What is the FMCSA certification form? AI still answering my question. When the school certifies you, the student, as test ready, they only submit specific data points as required by 49 CFR 380.717. They submit driver's detail, his name, birthday, permit, learner's permit, license number, etc. Driving training type is a Class A or Class B. And it goes on about the range and public road hours. Clock hours, okay, that word will be clock hours, the total number of clock hours spent behind the wheel required for reporting. Also on the range, I believe, too. And they also, AI said there's no federal minimum number of hours, which a lot of people don't like. When the entry-level driving training program came out, I'm speaking for myself now, that a lot of people are very upset that was no minimum number of hours training. Okay, AI continues on. And plus on the list will be the completion date, when the student passed the course, successfully passed the course. And the providers, the CDL schools, or theory class, they have to put their ID number in on that form. Okay, AI continues on. How the FMCSA assures proficiency, since the word proficiency is not even on the list. Since the form does not list the skills, the FMCSA relies on self-certification. The student, we certify that he's ready, even if he already can back up. We heard that before. There is a legal part to it. AI will go on. When a school registers with the training provider registry, they sign a legal statement under penalty of perjury that they are following the full curriculum in Appendix A, Part 380, which does not say or include alley dock and reverse, doesn't include anything. So they signed a legal form. I bet half the schools, I don't remember signing it, but they probably signed it and just forget about it. The certification gap, AI continues on. When a provider hits submit, so you fill out this form, it doesn't say anything about proficiency. All it just say, what's the driver's information, his license number, etc. I'm talking, so AI is not talking. This is me. And they hit the button. So that's the gap that AI is now talking about, the certification gap. So the provider hits AI saying they submit on the record, on the form, that they are essentially saying, this is what the school AI is saying, the school is essentially saying, I certify this student has mastered every single unit required by federal law, even though the digital form does not make them list the units one by one. That's why I always argue, why not have that on the form? There's one of your loopholes. Should be on the form. And we'll get in that later as we go on with some more questions and answers. We'll get to that. This is exactly why some schools cut corners. AI is saying this. They know that the state driver's licensing agency only sees that green light for testing and does not see which specific maneuvers were practiced or if the student was proficient in those skills. Okay, next question by Trucker Steve. So, if the form does not have the word proficient on it, and some skills are all left off by the FMCSA, is that what is called loopholes in the CDL system created by the FMCSA? AI answers. You hit the nail on the head. Oh, good. AI is making me feel good. So the loopholes is exactly where the entry-level driving training mandate and the state NVA testings stop talking to each other. You are right. The word proficient does not appear as a checkbox for individual skills, and digital transformation form, the certification that was sent to the state driver's licensing agency, does not appear. The reality of a loophole, AI saying this, the AI continues on, the FMCSA designed the system to be a high-level data transfer, not a detailed report card, which it should be, in my opinion. This is me talking. It should be a detailed report card holding the schools accountable. This is a loophole. So here's how the gap works in favor of cutting corners. AI just said that. AI continues on, the visible curriculum. The FMCSA says the Federal Registry that a student must be proficient in all skills, including alley docking, parallel parking, drop-in hook, etc. The simple form, the certification form, the actual data entry form only asks for a school completion date and total hours. You hear that? The state blind spots. When you show up at the DMV, the examiner screen would say simply entry-level driving training completed. That's all they see. It doesn't tell them that you practice or even know how to do an alley dock. Why the loophole? AI. Because the modernization skill test, AAMVA, removed the alley dock from the exam. And if you look at if the AAM, if you look at your website and you look at the forms, what it will say on there is reverse offset replaces the alley dock. AI didn't talk about that. I tried to get them to say it, but they didn't say it. AI, sometimes I couldn't get them to say what I wanted to get them to say. So they removed it, modernization skill. When you look at the modernization test, alley docking was removed from the exam. And the FMCSA form does not require proof of that, any specific skills. So many CDL schools realize that they can skip it entirely without the state even knowing it. And does it really, the state, me talking, does the state really care? It saves the schools time, saves them fuel. When they put the modernization program in and also the entry-level training program in, the group of 26 for entry-level driving training and the motor vehicle states who put the modernization in, fuel came in. The student passes the easier modernization test, AI says. The loophole, the student is legally certified under the entry-level driving training, but enters the workforce without the very skill alley docking that is most required in the real world. In the real world trucking, the FMCSA relies on auditing the schools to see if they are following the records. There's the only way they can catch it. Now you are seeing in 2026, maybe late 2025, a lot of audits. So AI, I'm finished with that. On the next videos, I'll go a couple more. So we're going to get into the driver shortage, all this other reasoning. But look, state testings, even if it's a third-party testing, the state knows a particular student is taking this test and that student has failed 4 or 5 times. That's a red flag. But the state don't say nothing. Doesn't say anything. The state knows entry-level driving training. They know all this stuff. FMCSA knows all this stuff. That's why I always put most of the blame on the FMCSA. If you look at my website, the one I have, the broken CDL trucking system, where I have a lot of videos about what we just talked about, what AI and I just talked about. So please check out the broken CDL trucking system. That's what I need Adam, Charles, Robert, all the people doing magazines, if it's OOIDA. Why do I need them? Because they have a seat at the table. They have a seat at the table. And I need them. They don't need to talk to me. If they want to talk to me, great. They'd hardly ever even answer any kind of emails that I send, maybe 1 or 2 words. But I need them. They write some very good articles. But I need them to go after the FMCSA or talk to them and say, hey, just fix the wording. Fix the wording. So stay tuned for my next video. We'll ask some more questions. Hope you probably knew all this, but maybe you didn't. Maybe you learned something today. I learned something just by having a conversation with AI. So it's time for us to have a conversation. It's time for someone, hopefully the FMCSA, that we can have a conversation with the FMCSA, Derek Barr or Sean Duffy. Please, are you listening? Do you hear us? See you on the next run. Be safe out there.